Today on 6.4, we are going to be talking about mid-segments. So let's start off with a quick review. First, how do you find the midpoint between, this is basically just saying 2 points. X of 1, y of 1, that's saying 1 point. X of 2, y of 2, that is our second point. Well, if you friendly reminder, our midpoint formula is you add our x's, so add both of our x's together, divide by 2, and we add our y's together, and we divide those by 2. And that is how we find our midpoint. So let's say here, we want to find the midpoint between A, and they give us points A. A is negative 1, 4, so here is A. B is negative 7, negative 2. This is B. If I connect them, this is A and B, and we want to find the midpoint. Well, the third point will be our midpoint, so let's find what that is. A, we add our x's. Our x's are negative 1 plus negative 7. Divide that by 2. And then we add our y's together. Our y's are 4 and negative 2. So let me use a different color there to kind of represent that. 4 and negative 2. So 4 plus negative 2. Divide that by 2. So here, our midpoint, our point is negative 8 divided by 2. That gives us negative 4. And then 4 plus negative 2 gives us 2. 2 divided by 2 gives us 1. So our midpoint is negative 4, positive 1. Oh, and it's right there. This is our midpoint, or I'll just call this M. Another review. How do you find the slope between the 2 points? Remember, our slope is our rise over our run. Okay, and that is also my change of y's, or my y's over my change of x. My y over my x. So to find the slope, I'm going to take my y's, I'm going to subtract them over my x's, and I'm going to subtract those. So 4 minus negative 2 over negative 1. Whatever you use first, I use my point A first, so I'm going to use 4, 1, 4, negative 1, and then negative 1 minus negative 7, which gives me 4 plus 2 over negative 1 plus 7, which is 6 over 6. So our slope there is 1. But that is how we would find our slope. We use our y's over our y and our x of y's, change of y's over our changes of x. What is true about slope of 2 parallel lines? Well, they are the same. They must be equal. Parallel lines, they are equal. So, for example, a slope of 2 must be another slope of 2. However, for our perpendicular lines, our perpendicular, it's our opposite inverse. Opposite inverse. So you have 2. The opposite of 2 is negative 2. Our inverse of 2 is you take that, a 1 over that, or you take it down to the denominator. So this becomes negative 1 half. Opposite, inverse, opposite signs, and negative 2. Review. Is AB with endpoints A and B with those endpoints, and segment CD with endpoints parallel, perpendicular, or neither? So let's find the slope. Let's find the slope. So first we take our y's and we subtract them. 3 minus 2. Our x's, negative 4 minus 0. So this is AB. This gives us 1, negative 4, slope of AB. CD, well, CD, we take our y's first. So 1 minus negative 1 over C, negative 6 minus 2, which gives us what? 2 over negative 8, which is also negative also 1/4. So these are the same. These are the same. So they have to be parallel. Or you can say AB is parallel to CD, like so. Okay, let's go to some of our theorems next. So our mid-segment of a triangle is the segment that connects the midpoints of two sides of a triangle. Okay? So for example, if I were to draw a triangle like so, the mid-segment, if this side is this side, here's this point, and this side is congruent to that side, then the mid-segment connects just like that. And our triangle mid-segment theorem, the segment connecting the two sides of a triangle is parallel to the third side of the triangle and is half as long as that side. So, for example, back to our original picture, if I call this A, B, C, D, and E, BD has to be parallel to AE. And also, BD, let's say if AE equals 4, BD is half of that length. So then BD has to equal 2. It's half of that length. So let's try some of this out. Let's try some of this out here. Let's put in our coordinates here. First, x is -3, 2. So we have -3, 2. Y is 5, 1, 5, 1. Z is -3, -2, -3, -2. Find the midpoint of x, y on it and plot it. So to find the midpoint of x, y, I'm just going to add these two together. So -3 plus 5 divided by 2. That's our x-coordinate. Our y-coordinate is 2 plus 1 divided by 2. So this is actually 2 divided by 2, which is 1. 3 divided by 2, well, that's 3/2. Or I'm just going to leave it as 3/2, but that's 1.5. So 1, 1.5. Haha, that's our midpoint. Name it A. So I'm going to name this A. Plot it. Find the midpoint of ZY. Okay, ZY. So ZY is, I'm going to add 5 plus -3. Divide that by 2. 1 plus -2. Divide that by 2. That equals 5 plus -3 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 plus -2, well, that's -1. Well, that's -1/2. So we have 1, -1/2 right there. And now I'm going to label that B. Okay. Find the midpoint of XZ and name it and put C on it. Okay. And plot it. Right? XZ. So we have -3 plus -3. Divide that by 2. And 2 plus -2. Divide that by XZ. Wait, -3 plus -3 divided by 2. 2 plus -2. Divide that by 2. Okay, that gives me -6 divided by 2 is -3. And 0 divided by 2 is 0. So -3, 0. And that is C. So there is my midpoint of XC. Okay. I can honestly tell already that my mid-segment AB, if I drew a line connecting A to B, has to be parallel to the other segment, XZ, to my segment XZ. And prove it. Well, I can kind of count how much this is. This distance here, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. What AB, XZ is 4, and AB, if it's going up a half and it's going down a half, and this is a full, AB is 2. AB is 2, XZ is 4, AB is half of that, has to be, and they're both parallel. To find that they're parallel, we can also find their slopes, right? Well, one is going straight up and down. The other one's going straight up and down. Both of them have a undefined slope. Undefined and undefined. So they are parallel. Okay, mid-segment CB is, so CB, so if I erase this here, and I connect CB, CB should be parallel to XY, to just the segment XY. And I can prove that by showing the slope of CB and XY. So CB, the slope of CB can be found by, remember we found our point of C to be -3, 0, and B to be 1, -1/2. So I can find the slope by doing my slope equation. So 0 minus -1/2 divided by -3 minus 1. That gives me, what was 1/2 divided by -4, which is the same thing as saying as -1/8. XY, I can see in the picture, it drops 1 and it runs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It has the same slope. The slope of XY is also -1/8 of XY. It's also -1/8. And next, so that being covered, we can also say that the segment, mid-segment AC, so if I connected AC here, that has to be parallel to ZY. And we can prove that by doing the exact same thing, finding our slope formula. AC being, let's see here, 0 minus 3/2 all over -3 minus 1. This gives me -3/2 over -4, which is the same thing as saying 3/8. And if I do that with the other one, let's see, ZY, so that's 1 minus -2 over 5 minus -3, which is then 3, because it's plus 3/8, both being 3/8. They are both parallel. Side XZ equals 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4. So that means that the mid-segment AB, which is parallel to it, must be half of that. So it has to be 2. Let's try one final example here. They say KM is 15. Well, HI has to be half of that. Half of 15 is what? 7.5, so 7.5. If HI then equals 22, 22 has to be twice of that. That means that has to be 44. So that's 22 times 2. And the other one is we took 15 and we divide that by 2 to get our answers.